You should.
I should do thank you notes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerd Age. This is the show where we talk about everything nerdy. My name is Mick, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts Josh,
What's up?
Jonah,
Hey.
and Corey.
Oh, what's up?
Oh, what's up, indeed? Welcome to the show, guys. If you like what you see here, please consider subscribing to our channel, liking the video. That's a thumbs up, right? And commenting down below, especially about what we're talking about today, which happens to be episode 7 of Ahsoka. As always, spoiler alert, we're just going to talk general spoilers for the show and the episode. So you have been warned. And with that being said, let's jump into episode 7.
Episode 7 might... I still enjoyed it, but I was wanting a little more from it. I think that there's just a lot of expectations with... I love what they're doing with Baylan.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see more of are we going to get more of what he's doing? I still really liked the episode. I thought the action was good. I thought, especially the opening with Anakin and the hologram and the training, that was awesome again to see Hayden Christensen. It was really cool. That whole, them coming out of hyperspace and the mines were there. That was really cool. The show looks fantastic. I think it's some of the best CGI we've gotten in a Disney Plus show for Star Wars. But yeah, overall, this was kind of more of an average episode for me because I just felt like there was kind of too much action. I wanted to see more of kind of just the story progressing as far as the things I want to see of Baylan. That's the most intriguing thing for me, which is crazy. It's a new character, and that when there's Ezra and Ahsoka and Thrawn, I'm like, I want to see what's Baylan talking about. What's he doing? But yeah, to me, it was setting stuff up for the finale. I thought it could have been better, but I still really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, I think I didn't have an issue with how much action there was, just because I know when it comes to stories and stuff like that, there's going to be an episode that's really heavy on dialogue. There's going to be, a heavy action episode. So I actually was pleased with it. I really enjoyed just the Ezra stuff and Baylan and just, generally seeing how things are kind of progressing forward. I think seeing how Baylan's kind of talking with what's her name? Hati. Shin. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
And also seeing the conclusion of the fight and seeing Ahsoka be like, I can help you. I'll help you. And her just run away.
She thought about it, though. That's
the funny thing. So it's an interesting little loose end they're kind of, taunting us with. Maybe, maybe she could get turned. Who knows? Maybe not. But it's interesting. I really enjoyed the fighting.
Yeah.
And because the fighting scenes are fast paced, it makes the episode also feel really fast for me.
Yeah.
So short.
Yeah.
And so that's one of my critiques, not a critique, but more of I wish there was a little bit more. When you do a heavy action episode like that, let's go an hour next time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's give me 15 more minutes or whatever, but I mean, I liked it. I would agree with you. It's kind of middle of the road episode for me, but I mean, they're all really great. So it's what? Oh, it's a 7.5, still really good. But I'm interested in the Baylan storyline. That seems like it can't be summed up next episode.
No.
You know what I mean? Especially with all these rumors of what's the, not God.
Abeloth.
Yeah, Abeloth. That aspect of it, we'll see. But it's interesting. It's very, I think it'll go farther than this, and which does lead me to believe that they might recast him because he's very specifically, he's doing that only. He doesn't have Shin to pass it off to. He separated himself from her. So interesting.
Yeah, that was, sorry, you guys go ahead and talk before I go in, because I don't hog all the mic, I'm thinking about you guys.
Well, what a guy.
Thank you, Jonah.
This guy. What a guy.
Go for it,
He's
Josh.
letting you talk, Josh.
Thank you for your permission,
You're
sir. I thought it was a good episode. I actually enjoyed, like you, Corey, I enjoyed the action. We had some more
I love Ezra
space
stuff.
battles. And Ezra stuff was really cool.
Love it.
At first I was like, I mean, Ahsoka's going to toss him a lightsaber, right? She's got a bunch hanging around. But when he was like, the Force is my ally, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, he almost seemed like a Force monk almost.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was pretty cool. And it was cool. It was refreshing to see something different. We haven't seen before.
It's true.
I thought it was really cool how he was. It almost seemed like he had a little Force kick there almost.
The shot where he stops Shin's blade and you see the blade actually like going that way, like distort with the Force. That was cool.
Yeah, that stuff was really cool. I also liked the stuff with the Night Sisters of them finding Ahsoka. I thought that was pretty cool. Just kind of seeing that. But yeah, I think the most interesting stuff, like we've already said, is the Balin stuff. Kind of seeing him basically telling Shin, like, we're different, basically. Like, you've got ambition. Take your place in the new empire. I've got a different task ahead of me. Yeah, was pretty cool, and yeah, that's I think the most interesting thing for me going forward. But yeah, I think the Anakin stuff was cool. Seeing Ahsoka basically verbalize like accepting her master's teaching again, and like coming to terms with that struggle that she had internally. Like we've talked about it before, but it's coming full circle of her being like, yeah, I accept that Anakin was Darth Vader, but he's also more than that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, when she says like he was a good master.
He was a good master. Like, yeah, I liked when Yu Yang was like, "Oh, he's like, I didn't know that he left. That he recorded all these things for you. Yeah, just in case." I thought that was cool. And hey, maybe we'll see her give him to Luke or something like that.
That's what a lot of people are speculating.
That would be crazy.
That would be a cool. That would be a cool
little
scene.
box with them.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
But yeah, I thought it was good. I think. Interesting to see. I feel like the night troopers aren't animated. They're people.
Yeah, they're people because they're still as bad as they were before.
Yeah, exactly.
and they weren't dusting
up.
Yeah, so I think
maybe the main guy then is.
Well, I think maybe that guy, but I'm thinking the ones they're taking back, those are the ones they're going to resurrect, and those are going to be the zombie Thrawn.
I would say definitely
like Night Sister, Night Brother stuff.
Yeah, but. What about you, Mick?
Night Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just echo what you guys are saying. I think this, as far as action goes, it was definitely action heavy. And looking back on the previous episodes, I don't think we got like a lot of action necessarily. Right. So it was kind of cool to have an episode that was really more focused on that. But yeah, I'm bummed that it seems like Balin and Shin are going separate ways because as much as I like Balin, I like their master apprentice relationship that they have. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them if they do end up coming back together in some way or not. But and then all the stuff with Ezra, like you're saying, he just seemed more Force monkish, almost like the guy from Rogue One. It just seemed like he was wrong.
I'm with the Force.
More,
the Force is with me.
Exactly, more on the Force than.
And he didn't die by an explosion, so that's a plus.
Not yet. Could happen.
True.
Just nothing but praise about the show, really. I really can't find any faults in it that I don't really like. The only thing that made me disappointed was getting two things wrong in the episode for my predictions. Pretty quickly, honestly. I was like, dang it.
About that.
What's up?
So I was like, C-3PO shows up. Yeah. Absolutely, I get a point. And then I go and look in the list. Guess who said no on C-3PO? This guy. You said no? Are you kidding me? I said no on C-3PO.
Did I say yes?
Yes, one of you said yes, and I'm really upset about it because two of you said yes, and I was.
I'm pretty sure I said no. I think I said yes to R2.
I said
no
yes to R2. Yeah. So I'm like, really? Out of the only ones. Anyways. But it was cool C-3PO showing up.
Yeah.
At first I was so pumped. Not as pumped later.
And it was actually the guy.
What was his name Anthony Daniels.
It was actually him. That's what we heard.
I thought that was a great way to kind of sidestep the whole issue that Carrie Fisher isn't around anymore.
Right, yeah.
But to give her like importance to the story, to be like, yeah, that's something she would do. Again, the New Republic is trash. It's garbage. And I know that's on purpose.
The other thing you have to imagine is that there are people who want it to be trash.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're like double agents.
It's done on purpose.
Yeah, like the green guy, the dum-dum council member.
Yeah.
He's probably he's probably a bad guy.
Senator Siono.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
And that actor does a really good job of you actually hating him and being like,
he does
this
a great
guy
job.
sucks.
Yeah.
I'm glad he dies in Hosnian Prime.
but you're complaining that it's trash. But
I know,
like,
but I'm just saying,
obviously,
like, it's done on purpose.
Yes,
You're
yes,
supposed
yes.
to feel that way.
Which is good. Which is good.
apparently, people are saying that was Admiral Akbar.
That's what people are saying.
Yeah,
It's not confirmed, but it seems like
Which is
it.
And I picked
Which
him.
I should have put that in my
which his
thing.
pattern is different. Like it's
But that's
similar.
just because he's old, you know.
Maybe
Their
that's
patterns
true.
change. It's like
like
wrinkles,
a turtle.
you know. It's like your
Mine's more accurate than his because they have like actual patterns and they change.
and as
them.
they age,
Anyway.
you know.
I thought it was.
They didn't call him Akbar though.
They-
And
yeah,
was
but
he in the
they
credits?
never said-
Was he in the
yeah.
credits?
I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah, people were just saying he would be on the council technically. I thought it was cool how they are setting up Leia to be kind of like setting her up for the story in the sequels, where it's like, oh, I didn't realize that you guys took a vote without me, kind of a thing. And that it still shows her importance that she's leader of the defense council,
Right.
or whatever that is. And so setting it up for the eventual point where she's like, I'm just going to break off and start my own
The resistance.
army resistance because you guys are idiots. I thought it's good world building retroactively, but nonetheless they're doing it, so that's good.
Well, and I think it's good because I think in the books, what's the name of the book?
Bloodline.
Is it
Or which
Bloodline?
one?
The one where it's basically the people in the New Republic, they find out that she's Vader's daughter, right? And so there's she's kind of pushed out because they're like, oh, we can't associate with you when the galaxy finds out that you were related to Darth Vader, kind of thing. So I think that would be something that would be interesting.
So was the guy who stopped Darth Vader.
Right.
Okay.
But even that's a reason they talk about Luke too. Like Luke is on the outs a little bit because they're like, we don't want to deal with you guys because of the association kind of thing. And I think that would be an interesting thing to bring up for in the shows, because if you didn't read those books, you don't realize that's the case.
And that's a pretty crucial plot point to what happens between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, how are all these grand heroes that saved the day last time all estranged now?
Yeah.
That's a huge plot point.
Yeah.
You're right.
And it makes sense.
It does feel weird.
It makes sense in that aspect to be like, yeah, the guy, like if you were related to Hitler, right? In our time, like how would
even if you were the one who shot him, or something
right,
like that.
right. If you're Hitler's
weird.
daughter, and after the war, how does that work? If you were working for the, that
maybe you don't
aspects.
hire her at the job, kind of.
Yeah, and so that's just would be interesting. I did want to go on to we were talking about Balin, and I think one of the best scenes was when he separates from her, and he kind of talks. But we've seen Balin be able to see out, reach out in the Force and kind of see the future. So I thought it was really interesting when he's like, "Hey, one last lesson for you before you go." He's like, "Don't be too quick for victory or whatever. That will be your downfall." That to me was really cool because knowing what he sees, that he can reach out and kind of see the future. That's what it seems like he's been able to do. He did that with Ahsoka. She's coming. He's able to do that kind of stuff. So I just thought that was really interesting. And the other part that made it interesting is when he's fighting Ahsoka, which he's beating her again, which is amazing to me that he's so powerful because we've seen Ahsoka wreck Maul and all these other people, and she can't seem to beat him. When she's running away, he has this moment where he's like, should I go? Because he does have this kind of, she's going towards Shin. Can he see her defeat? And then he's like, no, I'm being pulled elsewhere. I just thought that those little choices of the way he plays the character are so good. They carry a ton of weight and you can kind of see his hesitation, but then you're like, man, he just does such a good job with it. And then he just kind of walks the other way off screen. It's like, come on, show us what he's doing. It's just so good. I think he steals the show in every scene he's in, for me anyways.
Yeah, it's all about just the subtle little acting choices that he makes. It really just goes a long way. And again, it just is a real shame that we lost him. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this last episode with him. If they even answer those type of questions. Maybe it does get pushed out to a season 2 or a different show or something.
Yeah, before we go any further, do you think they'll show, will we get an answer or at least a tease in episode 7? Or is it just going to be, is that what we're going to be left with, him just kind of going off
Episode
and they're going to,
you mean?
yeah, in the finale here?
I would say at least a tease of something.
Yeah.
Like he's going to show up to a temple or something and you're going to
Yeah.
be like, oh, something's in there.
Something. Temple stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah, you got to have some little mini payout that leads into something possibly. Unless they don't want to do that and maybe they're trying to like pivot because they don't want to recast him. But I think he's such a big like part of this story that you have to at least address what he's doing. But yeah.
Josh?
Yeah, I feel like either we'll get a reveal of what he's actually looking for or it'll get teased. But I think we'll get
Something more
with it. Yeah, I don't think they'll just leave it off and be like, well, we'll revisit it later. They'll give us at least a decent sized tease or just straight up reveal.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a 2-hour episode.
It's not. It's
30 minutes.
54 minutes, I think is what they said.
See, I feel like you say this all the time and have
I've
never
been
confirmed
right.
that you're
I've
right.
been right.
Well,
Most every
it's
time.
coming out what? Wednesday? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah, so
It's
I'm sure it's already.
It's 50 something minutes, but with credits and they're saying 49. Comes about 49 minute
not bad.
finale.
It's terrible.
But other
Guys, come on.
Another-
We want an hour 20.
other theory,
Without
other question I want to ask you guys before we move on from Balin. Your predictions as far as, is it something crazy like Abeloth? Some people are saying like Abeloth is calling, or that he's going to become the brother. Anakin is the father and Ahsoka is the daughter in the Force. That would be kind of interesting. You create a character that would be able to become the dark side, the brother. Anakin is the balance because he's both light and dark. And then Ahsoka, we know the daughter already sacrificed herself. So she carries the daughter's essence, basically. So are they the new 3 Mortis Eternals? No. That's one thing. Is it Abeloth? Or some people are saying like, well, it's clear.
There's a DeLorean.
No, Palpatine is calling to him. And they're setting up that this is setting up the in-between. How did Palpatine get people to the planet? How did they get all the Kyber crystals for the Final Order? Because there's, they have Death Star cannons on their Star Destroyers. Is Palpatine just reaching out to him? Mm-hmm. What are your guys' thoughts on any of those 3 options? One of those 3 you favor more, do you think it is, or none of those 3?
Sure. I think that I would favor probably the Palpatine pull over the other ones because I think the other ones are hard for people to comprehend and they would take a lot of time to explain and get people to buy in on it. But I still think it's possible. So I'm not locking. I mean, not 100% in, but like I think the Palpatine, like that kind of pull would make more sense. But
would you be disappointed in that though? Because of how we've seen the sequels and how they've kind of, I mean, they're viewed more negatively because of somehow Palpatine returned, that whole idea. Would you feel like, I wish it was something more? Would you be a little let down by it?
Oh, I mean, what would I want? Oh, yeah, I'd love for them to go into the Mortis gods kind of stuff. I think that's very interesting, and I think it's a new take on Star Wars with having the same like feel. But I just have a hard time, believing that would realistically what that's what they would go with. So I would still enjoy it. I would be slightly let down. It all just comes up to Palpatine on the outer rim. Okay.
Is Balin Snoke, actually.
There you go.
Jupe, what do you think? Any of those 3 options?
Or if you have a different option.
Yeah.
If you have a different idea.
I feel like the Mortis gods, I've said it before, I think it's too heady of a concept to just kind of throw in there. It takes... We said it's a 49-minute episode. I mean,
it's a lot. Yeah,
they don't have... There's rumors, they're saying there's a season 2 of Ahsoka.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like that's probably least likely. The Abeloth one, I think I'm most interested in, just because it'd be an interesting concept to introduce. But it's the same type of situation. Now we're dealing with like there's a evil spirit god level character that we have to deal with now in Star Wars, which I'm not sure whether that can even go anywhere.
Is that that's tough.
So I honestly, I think I would be probably let down if it was the Emperor, just because I think it needs to be something more intriguing, but it would service the sequels, and I think it would retroactively make the sequels better.
Yeah, fill in the gaps.
Just like, Clone Wars makes the prequels better. Yeah. Like you fill in a bunch of information that you never didn't have, and you're like, oh, I actually like these characters more. So it could serve the same purpose. It would be interesting if that's kind of what they do and they build that out more. But I think Abeloth is what I would like it to be. Whether or not they can actually pull that off and what the implications are. But yeah.
Can I just interject real quick before we go forward? One of the things that I'm seeing as a problem here is this whole, it's an Ahsoka series, and we're talking about this bad guy, and like we're more into that than anything. And we also have Thrawn, right? We forget about the whole Thrawn aspect too. So like, there's a lot of time that has to be committed to Thrawn to kind of like show how smart and powerful and strategically advanced he is. How do we do that? Okay, we probably assume he's going to like betray Balin and Shin, and who knows? But like, there's going to be time committed to that. So that's like half the episode. So you got like 20, 25 minutes to do this other stuff. So it's like, how much can you realistically do? I think you just get a teaser level amount of time. So maybe 5-10, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're just going to
maybe move into season 2 or maybe even the movie or whatever.
Yeah. I think you're going to get something where he shows up somewhere and you hear like a Sith like voice being like or whatever. I don't know.
What do you think?
Just like that.
What do you think, Mick?
Of those options, what?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. What's the
Abeloth?
Yeah.
Abeloth is from Legends. It was this whole idea of like the father, son, and daughter had a servant woman who was the mother. But she was mortal, and then as she was aging, because the others were eternal, the brother and sister wanted to make her eternal by her drinking from a fountain on the planet, and the father was like, "No, you can't do that." And she heard their conversation and went and did it, and it corrupted her, and she becomes this eternal Sith being. And so throughout, they end up imprisoning her on this planet. And then the daughter and brother constantly have to fight her back while they're on Mortis. They have to keep her imprisoned there. And so
was any of that in the Clone Wars?
That was not in the Clone Wars, but they didn't keep her in the Clone Wars. They just did the other three.
The three. Okay.
But they're saying, could this be something that they bring in to create?
That would definitely be interesting. That's very fantasy, Silmarillion kind of like. That's where my mind goes. Mystical. Which I think that'd be cool. I think I agree though. I think what makes the most sense for where we are right now in the Star Wars universe and where it's heading to is probably Emperor related stuff. And it seems like this era, the past Mandalorian seasons, it seems like they're really, like you guys said, they're filling in those gaps. They're planting the seeds of. Which they are
doing
Snoke
a good job.
is. I would say so. So I, if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say that. I like the idea of maybe he does, become the brother or something, because we have already seen Anakin and maybe he is the father. We've seen Ahsoka, obviously the daughter. So it'd be cool to have that trio, and I think it would be a little bit challenging, though, to get that in and have people understand that. But maybe even just setting that up for more explanation later, I think they could still make that work. But yeah, I would say it makes the most sense to probably just be like, you know what, let's just keep this going. Let's say it's Palpatine doing stuff.
So if you wanted to buy into that idea, right?
I do.
I would ask so let me ask the question. To what end and for what purpose?
So I think there would be a really cool way to you can have Thrawn be the villain and the bad that the Republic is facing. But I think there's kind of a bigger villain that you could kind of, on a massive level, introduce that it's a bigger threat, that even though you've got your Heras and your Hans and your Leias going after like the physical threat that is Thrawn, you could have Ahsoka, Hayden Christensen, and Balin go after this more bigger threat,
spiritual battle
that is more of that fantasy in the Force realm, which I think would be pretty crazy to do.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, you mentioned Lord of the Rings, but this idea that Sauron, you know, you've got the orcs and you've got all this stuff.
Though. It's way more spiritual than that.
Right. But I just think there's this level that Sauron is an entity that the ring, he's more eternal. You've got Gandalf, who is not a human. He's more of a spiritual being. Like this whole idea, it's mixing different realms together.
Yeah.
And I just think that would be cool. One of the reasons that I think would be interesting, because I said this, that I think Ahsoka is going to stay back here in this galaxy.
Oh.
Remember when I said that she either dies or she stays stranded in this galaxy? I think Ezra and Sabine get back with Thrawn, and I think it would be perfect to have Hayden Christensen, Force Ghost, Ahsoka, and Balin in this. Ahsoka season 2 is these three people going and being like, what's calling in this distant galaxy that the Night Sisters fled from? That to me is a really interesting story that you could do, going back and forth. This is what's happening in our galaxy. Over on this completely different galaxy, we've got a completely different spiritual realm aspect that's even more of a threat than what the galaxy is facing. Yeah. I think going back and forth between that would be pretty awesome. And it's a way where you have Hayden Christensen, kind of Anakin really redeeming himself. And it would make sense if something is done to stop this entity, why Anakin did not present himself to Luke, because he's busy dealing with something else while this whole stuff is going on in this galaxy. He's got his hands tied with Abeloth and what it means for the whole destruction of the Force. Okay. To me, that's kind of an interesting story that I think would be crazy to do.
Yeah.
But come on. Yeah,
sure.
That would be pretty nuts. And I'd be down for it.
Yeah, I'm sold. I think
yes, I got one.
He's sold easily.
Yeah. Take my money. I think at some point, eventually Star Wars, to keep evolving, I think they do have to go crazy. They do have to eventually take that next step into the more fantasy out there realm. And that type of stuff I think would be really interesting. It almost, I think, would earn its own show, like doing that type of stuff.
Well, and the reason I think it might be possible is because I think Dave Filoni has messed around with that a little bit, even in shows that are like Rebels, like a kid's show, The World Between Worlds, in the Clone Wars, the Mortis Gods. It's like, it's not like this is something brand new. It's like he's gone that crazy before. Yeah. It seems like there's a possibility that he could go again.
Will he do it again?
I will say this. I see that there's like a 5% chance that this ever happens, right? But I'm with you. You know, I'm with you. I love the idea for sure. I'd love that, but it's not going to happen. 100%. Like, it's moving to 100%.
Yeah,
it's not.
You said 5%, so 95. No, I'm holding you at 95. Give me a little hope there. 95. Keep the door a little open.
And it's just because, like, I think you get away with a lot more when it's animated and stuff like that. And I think you can get away with a lot more. So, but when it comes to even the World Between Worlds in this show, it was more grounded. It wasn't as crazy. It wasn't as nuts. I mean, it was still interesting, but there was less effects than I thought there were going to be. It was really just a lot of like, oh, let's just remake these scenes just in live action and then have some cool effects. You know, like, oh, Anakin, Darth Vader, Anakin, Darth Vader. They really didn't go too crazy with that, which I thought they were going to go more crazy. So maybe it's a way to kind of start easing people into it.
Yeah.
I could see this maybe like 2-3 thing, you know, like 5 years from down the road, 10 years down the road from now.
Ahsoka season 7.
But maybe. I do think you do have to ease people into big changes like that. Unless you go like book or animated, you can go crazy like that. But in a main storyline thing like this, I don't know. It's tough.
Well, just a thought on that. Because you said the World Between Worlds was that crazy. There's a rumor that they cut 2 scenes out of the episode.
Let's hear it.
The rumor is that one of the scenes was Ahsoka would be on Mustafar. Obi-Wan's dead, and she strikes down Anakin. He still becomes Vader, but by her hands. So that was one of the scenes that they said was in there. And then the other scene that was cut, that was filmed, was the Rebels finale.
Wait, you said Obi-Wan dies in that?
Yeah, so Obi-Wan is killed by Anakin.
I don't believe that.
And she then is the one that has to.
No, I don't believe that, because it's proven to whatever happens in these things is real.
No, but what the rumor was that she sees outcomes, like the outcome was still going to be him becoming Vader, regardless of what happened. So the other one was she sees the finale of Rebels and she kills Thrawn instead of the Purrgil taking him, and she still winds up in this other galaxy. Is like, your destiny is the same. That's what the rumors are, that they're saying, that these were two.
Thank goodness.
No, this is Making Star Wars is saying that they reported this a while back and said that these were what they said in episode 5. This is what was going to be shown in the World Between Worlds, and that those were cut last minute because of other things. That's just a rumor. Who knows? Yeah. But that might be interesting to kind of see if that ever comes out to light or stuff. Sometimes you'll see things in behind the scenes stuff, like we've seen Luke in Boba Fett's in Jabba's palace. So they cut the scene where he came back in the Book of Boba Fett, and they changed that to R2 just drops off Grogu. Yeah. So we know that they've filmed certain things and then they cut them if they leak or if they decide to change things. So that might be interesting to find out if that was actually filmed. Be interesting to kind of see if any of that shows up. But it'll be interesting to see if they do an Ahsoka season 2, or if it's going anywhere, or the viewing numbers, I mean, haven't been fantastic. So, in the world of binging, I think there's a lot of people that wait for the full season to come out and then watch it all together. So keep that in account, but still, you never know what Disney's going to do with their bleeding money everywhere.
Yeah. Dang.
So anything else in the episode that stuck out to you guys? I know that I thought it was cool with Thrawn kind of doing his whole like, let's send these here. Don't do that. Let's wait her out. Yeah. I thought that was interesting to kind of see that he's playing with stuff. And the biggest interesting thing is when he's like, where's Lord Balin? Like, the fact that he's not there made him be like, well,
I didn't plan for this.
I didn't plan for this. Let's
It makes sense why we're losing.
So
he did find out that Anakin was Ahsoka's master.
Yes. One of my favorite lines is when, and I didn't think about this till later, but when he says her master was Anakin Skywalker, and then he asks the Night Sisters, "Are you sure there's only one starship?" Right? Like, he's a little scared, and I'm like, does he know about Luke? Was he like, is Luke coming with her? Like, that was just interesting to me that he would ask that crazy specific question to be like, you sure there's only one starship? Right?
Yeah.
So to me, that was really cool, because I didn't think about that till I was like, oh, was he worried about Luke showing up, knowing that Anakin had a son? Was he worried about, does he know about Leia? That's an interesting thing to me that I was like, that's an intriguing, kind of interesting little thing to be like, are you sure there's only one starship? But that was cool.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what he does with that information, because he does do the thing where he's like, well, she'll be, what does he say? Reckless or something like that, like unpredictable, like her master or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I do want to see that play out a little more so we can see more of Thrawn's kind of analytical mind and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a cool tease, and just his reaction was pretty cool to be like, like you said, almost like he was like, a little scared, maybe a little bit at first, and he's like, okay, I think we got this under control. We'll figure it out. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's the only standout thing for me currently with the series is kind of they need to put in some work to make him be a like legitimate, like feared, like villain, like antagonist in this. For people who didn't watch, the Rebels and stuff like that, I think they need to put in some work in this next episode to kind of show the full force of Thrawn and what he actually is capable of doing. So I believe they're going to be doing that for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like they've already been setting it up like, oh, how real is the threat? So
Yeah.
I fully expect him to come back and destroy that ship that was right at, right outside of where they jumped from.
Yeah. Home 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
3.
Whichever one. I think he'll come up and basically just blow him up.
Yeah.
So, give me your predictions for the finale. Are we going to see Thrawn escape this galaxy and go back to our galaxy? Are we going to see what's in those coffins? Are we going to see resurrected Night Brothers and Night Sisters? What do you got? Like, just give me your basic. What do you think we're going to see?
Like basic
prediction
synopsis.
of the finale. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see Thrawn getting away. Maybe that is like the final shot of him escaping and kind of leaving that cliffhanger. Man, it would be really interesting if Ahsoka got stranded. That would be interesting. Yeah, I think he does escape. I think we'll see what's in the coffins. But
Like coffee beans.
What if it's just those little crab people?
What? With slingshots. Pew.
But yeah, with the possibility of a second season, I could see them doing kind of a cliffhanger like that, leaving stuff open.
Ahsoka's gonna fight Morgan Elsbeth, a little rematch from Mandalorian. Ahsoka's gonna kill her. Thrawn does make it back. I don't think it'll be the last scene. I think he makes it back. I think he destroys that fleet. And I think we end up with the last scene of basically Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka basically like, oh, we're going to find our way back, whatever. Whether they get for space whales to take them back or whatever. But I think that'll be kind of like the ending. We get a tease from Balin also.
Okay. Sea-Dog?
What do you think, Jonah? Hold on. I'm still thinking about it.
I think we get Thrawn getting back. I like your thing. Round 2 of Ahsoka and Morgan, and probably Ahsoka killing her. I like that.
What weapon do you think she uses?
Morgan?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she uses like magic stuff.
Stuff.
Green magic.
Yeah. Thrawn gets back. I don't know if he'll destroy any fleet because he just has the one beat up Star Destroyer. I think he still needs to meet up with the rest of the Empire remnant. And I don't think they're going to show us that. Because people like from Mandalorian, they're like, Thrawn is out there. We're trying to get him. But I don't think they're going to reunite yet. So I think we're just going to see him coming back. I think Ahsoka's staying. And I think we're going to get Hayden Christensen or something like a tease of like, whether it's World Between Worlds or Force Ghost or something. I think we're going to see him in the finale somehow doing something with Ahsoka. I don't.
Do you think the Night Sisters are going with Thrawn?
I think so because I think they need to resurrect them in the new galaxy.
Yeah, okay.
I think Ahsoka might kill one of them. I don't think maybe one of them, all three, or Ezra, or one of. I don't think all three of them make it. But I don't know. I'm still torn. They keep doing this thing where Ezra keeps saying like, "Can't wait to get home. Can't wait to get home." So I'm like, is this homie gonna get stranded there too? Like, is he like? What are they doing here? I don't think they kill Ezra. That would be crazy to me. But,
I wish we knew whether or not there's going to be a season 2, because that would make a lot of decisions a lot easier here.
The rumor is that it's in production, but it hasn't been announced, or because of the writer's strike, it was on hold. So,
right.
But the rumor is there's a plan for season 2. I don't know if that's. I mean, there's rumors everywhere about Star Wars stuff. So, if not, there's still the Filoni movie that you would assume would link up this kind of stuff too. But
I'm trying,
and I think we get a tease about Balin, calling
sure.
Balin. He shows up at some temple or some doorway or something.
I'm trying to think of ways to make Thrawn become this amazing and feared villain to new watchers and new people who don't know him. So I'm thinking he betrays, like Shin maybe tries to get back on board, or he leaves without her or something like that, or something dramatic in that way to show how brutal he is. Or maybe she gets killed because of him or something like that. I think Ahsoka needs to have some kind of moment. I don't know. The problem I'm having is that not all the good guys are going to win in this one. I have a feeling that there's going to be very little wins on the good side. And so I'm trying to think of how does the good guys lose? Do they get left behind? Do they lose Ahsoka? Do they lose Ezra?
Does Thrawn kill Ezra? And that gives him what you're saying, like his, he finally killed Ezra.
Yeah, is there a moment where like he's about to kill Sabine, Ezra jumps in front, kills, sacrifices himself for Sabine? I don't know, maybe something like that. I don't think they get rid of Ahsoka. I could see her getting separated, but I don't know. It's tough because like the only way back is either a Purgle, which would be hard to come by because they got shot at and they don't want to come back,
and they tend to come to die.
Yeah, exactly. Also. So it's a one-way street. And the only way back is their big guy in orbit. So, yeah, I don't know. I think people are going to be left behind, and it might be Ahsoka. I'm not sure, though. It's tough. It's really tough. And I think that's a good thing. I don't know what's going to happen. But it does mean that they've got a lot of stuff to do this next episode. So I'm interested for sure. I'm very excited to see. I hope there's a little bit more fighting. Hope there's a lot more big decisions and big plot points happening with like maybe sacrifice or betrayal or something like that. But yeah, it's hard. I don't know, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Obviously the show comes out in a couple days, so check out the finale, come back and see what we got right and what we got wrong. And then we will be talking about the finale next week on the podcast, and everything Ahsoka. We're going to move on to just kind of some random stuff that have been going on. I want to talk a little bit. The writer's strike is over, apparently. I guess, yeah. Hopefully the writers learn their lesson and start writing some better material, But James Gunn came out and talked a little bit about now that the writer's strike is over, he can resume doing Superman Legacy stuff. And he kind of... I don't get what they're doing with DC, because he said nothing that comes out is canon until Creature Commandos, which is the cartoon.
Which I thought he actually said that Blue Beetle was the first episode.
And now it did well. It didn't do well. And so now, so he's like, nothing is canon until Creature Commandos. And then it really kicks off with Superman Legacy. But then he said some of the characters from the past DCU are still going to be those characters, and some of the plot points will be similar, but from other stuff that the DCU has done, and other stuff will be completely different. So the people he confirmed that are continuing in the roles of the past were John Cena as Peacemaker,
of course,
and his wife, Jennifer Holland, as Agent, whatever her name is. I can't remember her name. And then Blue Beetle is going to continue to play, is going to be in the DCU, and Amanda Waller,
Amanda Waller, wow. Nice.
Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. And so to me, it's weird.
So no Gal Gadot?
He didn't say, he didn't mention them. He's like, the only ones that are confirmed are Peacemaker, and I assume his Suicide Squad characters. Harley Quinn, I assume, Margot Robbie is going to continue, which is weird to me. It's like, just cut and start over. It's a weird thing to keep the people that you've worked with and then not keep Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot. It's just messy and weird. And then to keep pushing it back and be like, oh yeah, that was going to be part of it, but now it's not because it did bad. We're starting it over. And then to start with Creature Commandos, which is like, it's going to be an HBO or a Max show cartoon that's going to be more like the Harley Quinn vein of like raunchy. It's just going to be more like adult. It's just weird to me. They need to make money for DC, and that's not the way to make the money. I don't think it's going to get general audiences excited to be like, hey, check out Creature Commandos. We got Sean Gunn playing a weasel dude, and you know, and a flame guy, and it's weird stuff to me. To then be like Superman Legacy, which has Green Lantern in it, Hot Girl, all these other characters that you're like, is this really a Superman? It's just weird to me. What do you guys think of this whole?
I said Hot Girl. It's like, that's a hero.
Hot dude and then Hot Girl.
Wow.
Anyways, what do you guys think of this whole James Gunn DC?
I think James Gunn needs to shut your mouth, because he's just saying things. He's trying to be popular on social media. Oh, I want all these hits because I'm going to say little things here and there. I love attention. It's like, bro, just relax. Just shush up. Make an actual solid, good plan, and stop doing this whole, oh, shoot, that didn't do well. No. That wasn't the first one. Yeah. No, like I said before. No. Actually, this next one, yeah, for sure, that's going to be the first one. Like, bro, come on, man. Who are you fooling? Yeah. No one. Stupid.
Yeah, it seems like the Warner Bros. Of old. It's just reactionary. Yeah. It feels like they don't have a solid plan. If it's going to be a reboot, then just reboot. But like you said, it feels like picking and choosing to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. I think he needs to say less.
You know how it's gonna go? It's just gonna be like every series, every movie that comes out bombs. Oh yeah, no, it hasn't started yet. Oh, Creature. No, I was just joking. Actually, next one. Actually, it's gonna be Superman Legacy. Oh, that didn't do good. Oh, what's the next one? You know, like, dude, come on.
The Booster Gold. Booster Gold's the new one. Yeah.
So dumb, dude.
Yeah, it just I've been over DC for a while. You know what I mean? Like, just this whole James Gunn stuff has been like, nothing is exciting. Yeah. And it feels very unprofessional as far as like the way he's treating it. You think you would just be like, hey, we have some plans. This is what we're working on it. We'll tell you more about it, when we're ready, instead of being like, we're working on this stuff. Please like me.
Please like me. Yes, totally. Yes.
Don't worry about that. It's really funny stuff.
I promise.
It'll be really cool.
Right, guys? You guys think so? Right?
The truth is, Warner Brothers. I mean, I thought of Barbie. Barbie's self-financing all these DC projects for the next 10 years, basically, because nothing else has been. And the fact that Aquaman's going to come out this year and it's going to bomb. That's like 4 bombs and 5 bombs in a row that they just nothing's making money. The only thing that I'm like, oh, that makes sense is like keeping Blue Beetle as a character. I'm like, that's cool for the actor.
Well, it didn't really have any connection to anything else.
There's no connections to anything else. So you can throw him into the DCU and be like, yeah, but the other ones, it just does seem like, it's just like, oh, well, I like these characters. They're my pet projects. So they get to come along. Which is annoying. Yeah. Because I feel like we all hated the Suicide Squad and
it's not that they're not that popular. To me, it's like when you look at they're like, well, it was critically acclaimed. I was like, yeah, but that's not money. Like it got an 89 on Rotten Tomatoes. It made $160 million in the box office, and you can't use COVID and other things as an excuse because Spider-Man came out and during that same period and went over $1 billion. So movies were coming out in theaters that were making money. Suicide Squad, yes, it was released on HBO, but I was like, first of all, not a lot of people had HBO. That's just in the United States. What about internationally? Like, the movie didn't make money. So to then be like, these characters are popular, it's like, no. Like, you got 89 or whatever it was on Rotten Tomatoes based on critics that like the James Gunn humor and stuff like that, but we all hated that movie. Yeah. And we're
more important than critics.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like
we're the real people.
I've seen a lot of people that were like, so like Melissa, she loves superhero movies, but she's like, that movie was dumb. I hated it. Like that kind of stuff is like, you can't take your families to those kind of movies. Like if Warner Brothers needs to make money, this is not the way to do it. And so you're bringing these characters, you're not going to be able to put a John Cena Peacemaker character in a Superman movie and then have it be like, serious, right? To me, it's just weird. It's strange. I don't think it's a smart move. I actually think Discovery is going to end up selling DC to another company. They're saying Universal is going to buy it. So once a new group is in charge. Are they going to scrap all of James Gunn's plans? Because I just think it's weird. They need to start over whatever they're doing, or let Matt Reeves just do Matt Reeves stuff and forget the rest of it. Wait for 10 years and reboot it once, people
forget.
Exactly. It's just, to me, it's like you can't keep, especially when there's so many people that are fan of Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and you're like, those guys aren't continuing. But here, Jennifer Holland and John Cena, you guys all clamored for them. Anyways, we'll see what happens with that. I've got another thing I wanted to bring up that I just remembered. Rumor is, I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Christopher Nolan is being approached to do the 2 next James Bond movies, and there's rumors that he's going to get Christian Bale to be James Bond. Would
That'd
you
be sick
want to see
Yes.
Nolan's take on James Bond with either Christian Bale or I'd take a Henry Cavill Bond?
Yes.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, he's said multiple times that those are some of his favorite movies, James Bond movies. And you can see a lot of that influence in, Inception, Tenet, those type of movies.
Come on, man.
The rumor is he'd also do like a period. So it would be like set in not modern times, 60s, but set in like
one of
I think
it's all backwards too.
I think that would be the way to do it.
I have to stop Oppenheimer.
That'd be sick.
As far as Christian Bale, I mean, I would love to see him work with Christopher Nolan again. He wouldn't necessarily be the first actor coming to mind for James Bond. I would think more of a Henry Cavill, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really ever go wrong with Christian Bale. He's amazing in everything he does. So I would definitely see it and be interested in it. But I think my first pick would be Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I don't know if Christian Bale's my number 1 pick, but I mean, Christopher Nolan, blah. That sounds perfect.
Or Christian Bale as like a Bond villain.
That'd be good. I think he'd be a great villain.
Yeah, that definitely fits.
Give me that. That'd be pretty awesome.
It's like a stock market guy who's on cocaine.
Get him yelling at people backstage.
I am a little on the fence though. Part of me is like,
what? On which part?
Because
Nolan?
You want another Nolan original.
Oh, you don't want him to be kept up with all this.
Yeah, I still think he could do like, let's do something crazy with time and James Bond.
You're a good time.
But I don't know. So I'm a little torn on that because I just think his original stuff is so good. But at the same time, I'm like, Christopher Nolan cranks out movies pretty like quickly.
Pretty
almost every 2 years, right?
Yeah. And so to me, I'm like,
2 to 3.
He could take a break and maybe film some Bond movies back to back. And then, in 5 years, we have a new Nolan movie. I don't know.
I mean, he did that
with
with the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, that's true.
Same type of thing.
So, anyways, I'm down for that. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I will say, too, that would be more the first time that I'd be actually really interested in the James Bond franchise. There's some movies that I like here and there, but I've never been like a diehard James Bond
What
fan.
if he got Tom Cruise to play James Bond?
Now,
or what if it was
we're
James
talking.
Bond versus Ethan Hunt?
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Combine everything. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I wish they did Henry Cavill, but for some reason, I don't think he'd land that job.
That'd be pretty sick.
That would be sick.
He'd be a good.
I think he'd be
Bond.
great.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see him actually use his British accent in a movie.
That is true.
I feel like he's always an
That is
American guy.
Corey, you were mentioning about the Olympics thing.
Oh, yeah. This is kind of an interesting thing. I know we don't talk about video games too much, but it's a really funny interaction where they had the Asian Olympics, but for esports. And so, all the different countries competed. They made their basically the Olympics.
Did they do an opening night ceremony where they go into a stadium and walk around with their flags? And all that stuff?
Don't think
It was
so.
all virtual.
I don't think so. No, it's all in person. Well, kind of, because the games are virtual. But they're competing at a place, in a stadium or whatever. But yeah, it was interesting because they competed in several different games, but one of them was League of Legends, and in Korea, once you get 18, you have to serve the military for 2 years, I think, 2 or 3 years. But if you ever win an Olympic medal, like in regular sports, or in this case, Olympic level esports medal, you get exempt from that service. So actually, the Korean team won first place in League of Legends, so they got the gold, and they're exempt. So I think it's just kind of a funny thing.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because I think we are getting closer and closer to esports being a part of Olympic competitions, and so
crazy.
It'll be interesting to see what makes it and what doesn't, and to what degree, because it's not going to be part of the big, watch on mainstream television.
Yeah.
They're not going to be featuring it.
they should play the Mario Olympics game.
I hope that they
The GOAT, John Williams.
I hope that they do. I hope the Olympics adapts to the current age of just internet, because they're losing a lot of viewership by not being online and streaming all their stuff. Because think about how many things they have going on at once in the summer games or the winter games. They've got so many things going on. Why not stream on a website and have all the sports and esports you want to watch at the same time?
Right.
It's untapped.
Do you really think they would make a certain game like an Olympic sport, to play? So, because I think there's always golf is not an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
And so there's stuff like that where they're
but ping pong is.
Right. But they make certain rules on certain things. They just put in softball of, 8 years ago.
They took out wrestling.
And they took out wrestling. So
I think
how do you, if you say you're pitching it, how would you pitch it to the Olympics committee to be like, hey, I think, League of Legends competition.
Well, you'd obviously you'd start with viewership numbers.
I think you start with Wii Sports. Because
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's a sport. Right. Which game? Yeah, there you go. Wii Sport. No, I mean, the thing is that the viewership's there.
Right.
The money's there, at least digitally. And so as long as you could pitch a whole package of here's how people would watch it, here's how you make money from it, and here's how you compete, and here's the rule set, you can do it. But I don't think you can have it on the same tier as basketball. You can't have it. It has to be its own thing.
So you mean a separate, a virtual Olympics?
Yeah. You have to have it be its own thing.
So they have the Summer
Olympics,
Olympics, the Winter Olympics,
and the
Esports
Olympics.
Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you do it every
separate.
2 years or something like that, or every 3 years or whatever. What is it? Every 4 years for they're alternating.
Yeah.
So maybe you could do.
So every 2 years.
Maybe you could sneak in there.
Winter.
Yeah. So, I think it is down the road. I think it will happen.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I was thinking, as part of the Summer Olympics, you would have
because
now they're doing, after the triathlon, it's stick around for League of Legends, But you're saying an Olympics, it's still the Olympics, but it's
the third Olympics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and I think it does, and it's totally different. I think it's hosted online. It maybe doesn't even have any footprint on traditional TV because the viewership on that is actually trash comparatively. But yeah, I think if they realize the numbers that they'd be pulling, I don't know. Like I said, I think in 5 to 10 years from now, you'll see it.
Okay.
So how would it work then? Because right now you have your individual teams, right?
Yeah.
Your esports teams that are dedicated.
Like clubs, basically.
So you would it would be the same thing.
Someone would be nominated as the coach for the country.
And then they would choose the players. That would be cool. Yep. I think that would be pretty interesting. And I'm actually surprised that it's not something that's happened yet.
Yeah. And it's happened on small scale. So Overwatch, they had a national based tournament where it's all the Canadians are on a team and they have a coach and they pick the 5 players or 6 players. And then they compete against Mexico and they compete against America and Korea. They've done it on small scale, but to normalize it, regulate it into here are the 5 esports we're going to do.
Yeah.
We do Street Fighter, CSGO. So Counter-Strike, we do Call of Duty, and then we do League of Legends and we do, Fortnite or whatever the biggest esports are at that time. But yeah, I think that it needs to be more agile. It can't have a bunch of old people managing it. Because esports is a young man's game. And so, it is interesting. But I think 5 to 10 years from now, mark my words,
Will we see you competing in these Olympics?
No, but I will be creating. I'll be part of the team that makes North Americans jerseys. For
Nice.
sure. Yeah. I'll be
Sick.
part of the team.
Can I get one of
Walking
those
out
jerseys
into
for
the
free?
stadium,
For sure.
flagging.
Yeah, we
waving
better
the
have
flag.
an opening night ceremony there.
Yeah, dude.
That's right. That's right.
No, I think that sounds. I think it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
What is it hurting?
Especially like you're already talking about like, oh, there's this tournament in Asia for this specific, like
They're already doing it.
just make it global scale.
Well, yeah, you do speed runners.
Yeah.
So you got speed skating, you got speed runners.
It is crazy how many games they have in like the Summer Olympics. Like they have so many
like
things.
skee ball and
So even when I think about like, well, which esports would
the
they
moguls.
do?
Okay.
It's like, no, they've got so many different sports that they actually compete in. It's kind of ridiculous.
And I think they could actually combine the two. So like you're actually running around a track while you're playing would be pretty legit.
yeah, you know what they should do too? And then the next thing, then they do basketball, but underwater. They call it polo.
There you go.
Oh,
There it is.
That's how it's born right there from great minds like you. I think it would pull views. That'd be great. But yeah, I think there's potential for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll be seeing about that. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I don't know. The Spider-Man stuff. What was the thing about
The
Spider-Man?
loading screen changes. Depending on
When does it come out?
20th of October.
And will you be playing it on release?
I will, yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
I already pre-ordered it.
So we can at least expect a
Already in
review
its
from you.
loading.
That's right. Ready to go.
Digital copy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boo.
Physical media. He's like, no thanks. Oh, I wanted to say something. Stardew Valley update, baby. I'm going back to the valley. I'm going back to harvest some
Melons.
some turnips and some melons.
Yeah,
Some
nice.
Pretty cool update that's coming
Now,
out.
do you play
Some
it
new
co-op?
characters? I played with Melissa sometimes.
That'd be fun.
Maya's probably old enough now where she can
could
ride
pick
the
some-
horse.
Put her
while
to
I'm-
work, you know?
She
Yeah.
can ride the horse while I'm, fixing the crops. But the character's gonna have
Fixing the
new
crops.
design. There's some new a major festival, and then some new lighter festivals that are being updated, and then some more not villains, but like
Oh, shoot.
night things that happen, like characters that come out, and then like over 300 new lines of dialogue. Hey, I'm ready to go back to the valley, baby.
In Stardew Valley, is there like a guy who becomes an arsonist and like lights your stuff on fire?
No, but that'd be pretty sick.
That's a great
Maybe they
idea.
need to do
Hey,
that.
That might happen.
I mean, monsters started showing
be
up
awesome.
that night, so
there's
yeah.
monsters now?
Yeah, and in
Sick.
the update before that, at nighttime, like bats would come and zombies and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Bats aren't monsters, bro.
They are. Have you ever played? Have you ever played any of the Zelda games? Those are monsters. When the bats come at you,
Yeah,
those
but
are
they're
monsters,
real.
bro.
They're real animals.
How about in Zelda 2
Yeah,
Link's
those monsters,
Adventure?
those bats.
How about in Zelda 2 Link's Adventure when you go to the side scroll and the bats would come down and they turn into the devils and shoot fire at you?
Okay,
Okay, that's
they're
a monster.
vampire
Okay.
bats.
Well, Stardew Valley, baby. Anyways,
For all your updates on Stardew Valley, come
So
here.
yeah, Stardew Valley. I can't wait to get back to the valley. Anyways, that's gonna do it for us. Thanks so much for watching. We're gonna be doing a giveaway next week. Crystal Galactic Pedestrian on Instagram has done an awesome Ahsoka print. We're going to be giving details about that on our social media.
Watch the social media.
So make sure you check out our TikTok, our Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, information on that. And then next week we'll give you all that. So make sure you come back next week also for the Ahsoka finale. We can't wait to talk about that and discuss it. And thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
Bye.